It's Hot Edition. We're live from News about Desa Wakanda. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. And this evening here on Hot Edition, I am Alfred Ocansey. As Ghana receives body of xenophobic attack victim from South Africa, awaiting a second that's possible autopsy into exactly what happened as we receive thousands. The third batch of Ghanaians who arrived from South Africa earlier today. Will bring you details of exactly how things have been playing out here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, the latest from Musa Dankwa, we touched on the possible third-term presidential bid for John Dramani Mahama as the two Tango in the latest Global Infor Analytics Survey. Share your thoughts. We're getting to it this evening here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, the staff of the Volta Aluminium company, VALCO, up in arms against what they say is a proposed sale of the company. And in that particular regard, we'll give you an update because Ibrahim Mahama, brother of the president, has denied any bid to acquire VALCO and has threatened legal action against persons who are reporting this particular aspect of the story. Stay with us. We've got details for you here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. As always, your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome right out to you and to the rest of the world. Earlier in court today on the matter of Chairman Wontumi Benadetri Boesiako, who is serving a 20-year prison term, was in court today. The plea bargain talks, according to the Attorney General, is at advanced stage but had to be halted because of the change in the council of Chairman Wontumi. The latest is that Samuel Atacha, upon the directive of the party, the NPP, has taken over all the cases involving Chairman Wontumi. Stay with us. We have a conversation on this here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Let's settle for a summary of the news now.
They're the best.
And Safwa Boahin is here with a summary.
Thank you, Alfred, and welcome to the news summary segment. Our first story, where the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, has called on President John Dramani Mahama to immediately suspend the proposed sale of the Volta Aluminium company, VALCO, warning that the move could result in significant job losses and undermine the country's industrial development. The appeal was made during the demonstration by more than 200 VALCO workers in Tema, where members of the union marched through parts of the industrial city before presenting a petition to the Tema Metropolitan Chief Executive MCE, Ibi Bright, for onward submission to the president. Away from that, a majority of Ghanaians who served as respondents in a poll support President John Dramani Mahama's decision not to seek a third term, according to the latest national telephone survey by Global Infor Analytics. The poll found that 65% of respondents agree with the president's decision, while 27% disagree and 8% expressed no opinion. A former MP for Achim Ibuakwa South, Samuel Atachia, has taken over as the lead counsel for the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Benadetri Boesiako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, in the Exim Bank loan fraud case. Chairman Wontumi is facing multiple charges, including defrauding by false pretenses, forgery, and money laundering to the tune of 30 million Ghana cedis. Also, away from that, the exotic fruit growers, fruit processors, and associations of Ekumfi and Asebu have commended the government of Ghana and the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kasiel Latofo, for the swift decision to abolish the 20% excise duty on locally manufactured fruit juices, describing the move as a landmark intervention that will revive Ghana's fruit processing industry and restore confidence throughout the agricultural value chain. The proposed abolition was announced during the 2026 media budget review as part of broader reforms to support agro-processing and local manufacturing. To our last story now, where for mothers living with hepatitis B, the greatest threat to their babies comes in the first few hours after birth. Yet a vaccine that could prevent lifelong infection is still not routinely available in Ghana, raising concerns that the country may miss its 2030 elimination target. Hepatitis B affects an estimated 10 to 15% of Ghanaians, making it one of the country's most common infectious disease. And this is where we end our news summary segment. And over to you, Alfred.
Safwa Boahin. Thank you so much. So summaries of the news is more you can find on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. As always, your thoughts, views, and comments are welcome. We're also streaming live at 3FM 927 at 3FM 927. Also on Facebook at 3FM 927 and on YouTube at 3FM 927. And you can connect with us and share your thoughts there. Read out to you and to the rest of the world. Now, we're getting some updates as well as a number of Ghanaians who have been killed in the Russia-Ukraine war. We'll tell you about that particular development. Rather troubling statistics we are getting from the Foreign Affairs Ministry regarding the number of Ghanaians who have died as a result of this ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. But we start off from the happenings within the Global Infor Analytics, because some reactions have come through regarding the latest from Musa Dankwa, and that is whether or not the third term talk of the president has any momentum on the ground regarding the persons that he spoke to in the latest survey that he has put out today. Something very interesting. But let's start off with about 6 in every 10 NDC supporters want President Mahama to seek a third term. That's according to Musa Dankwa. 6 in every 10, according to the latest Global Infor Analytics poll. Nationally, however, support drops to 40%, while 50% oppose the proposal. Meanwhile, the NDC chairman, Johnson Ketia, has narrowly urged Finance Minister Kasiela Toforsen as the preferred candidate to lead the MPP in the NDC, I beg your pardon, in 2028. Esiedun Ketia secured 31.3% compared to Dr. Atoforsen's 30.8%, placing the two in a virtual dead heat. Now, the government's no-fee stress policy also emerged as the highest-rated initiative, scoring 6.1 out of the 10, ahead of the Big Push program, with government's 24-hour economy recording the lowest rating. Rightly so. A lot of it has not, we've seen not much of a developments regarding the implementation of the 24-hour economy policy. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM 927, we've displayed the latest from Musa Dankwa showing the NDC race. And they'll just put it out. These persons who have been polled have not individually come out to declare whether or not they want to contest the flag bearership of the NDC. But let's start off from the conversation about the third term, because the president, John Dramani Mahama himself, has come out it's almost a week ago to discount this talk of a third term. Take a listen to him.
The people of Ghana gave me a mandate for one term, and I am working hard to meet the promises I made them. I know that people have gone to the Supreme Court seeking interpretation of the clause that governs the tenure of the president. If you ask my personal opinion, I thought that it was clear enough. I've read it over several times. It's exactly what it says, but if they want to ask the Supreme Court, that is their business. But I know that the people of Ghana gave me one additional term, and I'm going to work to meet the trust that they put in me.
That's the president there just a little over a week ago. So what's the motivation exactly for this talk of a third term? Musa Dankwa is Executive Director of Global Infor Analytics. Musa Dankwa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
I thought that the president's statement I just played to you would have ended this conversation on whether or not he's seeking a third term. So what exactly motivated you to poll people on whether or not he will seek a third term?
Thank you very much. As an opinion company or opinion poll company, public discussion is best to us. And until numbers do discussion, they are meaningless. If you ask people what proportion of Ghanaians would like Mahama to go for a third term, nobody could put their hands in the air and tell you this number. If you ask people how many NDCs people would like Mahama to go for third term, nobody could give you that. With the opinion poll, you can now say X or Y percentages. And for me, that is the most important aspect of this job. Now, as opinion poll company, you put your ears on the ground and things that you think is a public interest. That is what you go up there and find out. And that's what we've done exactly.
I see, and I look at the questions you're asking, and we're going to flip back to the previous slide. You asked the question, do you disagree with the call for John Mahama to go for a third term? Who is making that call? And really?
Alfred, there are people who are making this call. You know, there are people who are making this, both within the party and so on and so forth. And somebody has even gone to court, get the patient. So there's kind of concern that this agenda is being pursued by other people. So it is very important as opinion poll company to see what the public think. And that's exactly what we have done. If you look at what people are saying, there were two questions. The first question was, Mahama said he is not contesting for a second term, and that he understands the first term or one term to be one term, or yes, he was elected to serve only one term. And that's what he is doing.
Yes, you said, and with that, you said JDM says he will not seek for a third term. Do you agree or disagree with him? 65% say they agree that yes, he will not seek he says he will not seek a third term, and 27% disagree with him saying that he will not seek a third term, and 8% say they have no opinion. So that's inconsequential, because then you have a lot more people, respondents, who are saying they agree. But the next is it is the next question which the issues play out differently.
Yes. Let me explain that. We asked them, despite Mahama saying what he said, others have gone to court to seek interpretation of that constitutional provision. And there are those who are calling for him to contest. Do you support those who are calling for him to contest, or you don't? Or do you agree with those who are calling for him to contest, or you disagree with them? And here, half of the country say they disagree with those who are calling for him to contest. 40% agree with them, and 10% have no opinion. Now, what we have seen here is that even though they say they agree with him not contesting, when we flip the question differently, you see some of them coming back to say we support him to contest. That's why those who say they don't agree with those calling for him has reduced to around 50%. So basically what I can read is that if he did not make that comment publicly, that number for going for a third term could have been higher. But he dampened the people's spirit by saying, look, I'm not interested. So those who may want to say you should go may have thought twice and say, look, let's not go there.
Because the person whom they are even rooting for that, look, we want you to go for a third term, has himself come out to say, look, I'm not interested in this. So that's reflective in the 40%. And you say that, but for the president's outward pronouncement publicly on the matter, the support for a possible third term would have been higher than the 40%.
Yes.
Based on what?
No, we are human beings, Alfred. And sociologists and psychologists will tell you that, look, when somebody whom you want him to contest say, I'm not interested, when you ask people who say, should he contest? The man say he won't contest. Why should I force him?
And you drill down the data to those respondents who are NDC and others who are not NDC.
Exactly. We wanted to see the partisan lines for those who want him to contest and those who don't want him to contest. Now, if you look at the data, 14% of MPP voters want him to go for a third term. 14% of MPP. But 76% of them said no. We disagree. When it comes to NDC, 63%, over 1 million, want him to go for a third term. But 31% said no, he shouldn't go. When it comes to floating voters, 33% of them want him to go, but 67% don't want him to go. And when it comes to those who don't tell us their party affiliation, 62% want him not to go, but 24% want him to go. And those who support other parties, 60% said no, he shouldn't go, and 33% say he should go. So here, NDC people are standing alone. Every other voting bloc is opposing that third term. It means that it is highly unlikely, even if it is put to the people, it will win because they are on their own.
And that's why I bring in Professor Samuel Edujemfi. Prof, and Musa Dankwa is the one you've been listening to on the other line, explaining the latest outcome of the poll. Majority of the persons polled obviously disagreeing with the idea of a third term for John Dramani Mahama. He personally has come out a little over a week ago to discount that particular claim that he is working to seek a third term. And that is reflected in the outcome of this poll. This settles the matter from where you sit?
Thanks very much, my brother. Senior Mutadankwa's polls have consistently spoken to the key ideas and structures that push our politics. I believe that hard data, scientific data like this cannot be queried, except to say that it has given us the opportunity to have a deeper reflection also on what Ghanaians are looking at. I don't think it settles the matter, but it calls us to reflect on rather settling the matter at the court of competent jurisdiction, so that when the Constitution says that an individual can go on, if you like, a third term because of lack of consecutive nature, then we could say that it is not a business for us to even contemplate, because that individual would have the right to decipher or to make a determination whether he will contest again or not. So constitutional matters must be fully settled and settled as such. The hard issues are that Ghanaians are interested in an individual who provides the public good. Within the current scheme of things, the broader masses of Ghana, right, the population of the entity called Ghana, are they receiving the kind of development they anticipated? Are they receiving the kind of leadership they anticipated? Is President Mahama moving Ghana forward toward the direction that Ghanaians are anticipating? Now, if he is delivering the public good, then Ghanaians, in their contemplation, may want him to continue. But like the poll is showing, I just followed, right? Those who are hardcore card-bearing members of the NDC are showing that at least they are comfortable with what's his name, Mr. Mahama, His Excellency, and so they may want him to continue. But on another breath, you realize that opinion is also divided, because there are those who are also hardcore, if you like, party followership, either within the MPP or the CDP and elsewhere, who may not want an NDC presidency or president for a third term. But what is significant, if you look at it clearly, is that it seems to me that the kingmakers themselves are also, if you like, not enthused about the whole third term question. So where does the answer lie? What is the pivot? What is the fulcrum? What is going to cause the whole debate to hold? I think what will cause the whole debate to hold is that we should allow President Mahama to exercise his right within the remit of the law. We should allow him to use the 2 years left to provide the public good. And when all is done, Ghanaians will make a determination, one, within the NDC itself, whether they want him as a flag bearer or not. Two, whether Ghanaians would even want him to lead the country again. It should be a matter that is determined by the factors that are going to evolve within the next 2 years. But within the current scheme of things, I think the science, the data is hard enough to suggest that opinion is divided, and that in our contemplation, indeed it's going to be a first time. And when you have some of these first time discussions, the opinions seem to be divided. And as divided as it may be, I think we can't overlook the signs in our reflection and hope that at the end of the day, whatever we do will not disturb the quiet and the peace of this country.
And still connected to that, as this must be discounted from where you sit, there are persons who are also, working behind the scenes to take over the reins of the party in terms of its flag bearership. None of the people that Musa Dankwa has polled has come out publicly to declare their intentions to lead the party. But it is one that from where you sit, from the political scientist lenses, it should not be lost out on the party in terms of the ground, there's underground workings of some individuals to lead the party, is it not?
Yes, of course. I mean, the internal democratic arrangement of the NDC must be adhered to. I am not of the view, I do not share the sentiment or the thought that political parties should be hijacked by some individuals, whether they come to power and they want to stay on to power by any means necessary, or whether they feel that they have the financial muscle to control the party and so they have to control the party. All other forces therein, either those who have control over the party as in party executives or president or flag bearer, should not assume that the party should dance to the tune that they play. Rather, they must allow the internal democratic arrangement of the party to suffice. And that can only be done when they allow, some kind of competitive elections within the NDC itself. So today, if there is going to be a unanimous decision to say that, let's say President Mahama should continue, it should be based on the fact that all the actors therein have come to that conclusion. Nobody should be whipped into line, nobody should be forced, nobody should be intimidated, or nobody should feel left out because he or she felt that he can be voted for, she can be voted for to lead the party. And we should not be oblivious of the fact that the MPP is struggling today because of set top-down methods. And I think that these discussions smell like that. It smells like a top-down agenda. And that should not be seen within the NDC, within the current scheme of things. They should allow the democratic credentials of the MPP to suffice, the NDC to suffice. They should allow the NDC to run on the wheel of internal democratic elections to nominate or elect a flag bearer naturally within their ranks, and not somebody who is already leading per se as a president. Such arrangements may also derail the potential to better still train, groom, or bring up a new leader in the foreseeable future. And I think it's something NDC must look at. They need to be able to produce a candidate beyond President Mahama, whether they do it now or in the future. Because even though the NPP is going through challenges, they owe it to themselves a certain duty of care to ensure that they are giving birth to new leaders that will march the party onward in terms of, competitive elections going forward into the future.
Professor Samuel Edujemfi, thank you. Thank you for joining us on Volta Edition. Also to you, Mr. Dankwa, thank you very much for your thoughts this evening. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Musa Dankwa is Executive Director of Global Infor Analytics. Also, Professor Samuel Edujemfi is a political scientist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's head to the courts because private legal practitioner Samuel Atacha has taken over as lead counsel for NPP's Ashanti Regional Chair, Bernard Entwibosiako, also known as Chamawontumi, in the 30 million cedis Exim Bank loan fraud case. Now, Chamawontumi is facing multiple charges, including defrauding by false pretenses, forgery, and money laundering to the tune of 30 million Ghana cedis. In court earlier today, Samuel Atacha notified the court that Andy Apiakobi, who was previously representing Chamawontumi as lead counsel, has withdrawn his services as the legal representative for Chamawontumi. And bear in mind, Chamawontumi is already in jail, serving a 20-year jail term in the Samurai Boy case. Now, he therefore prayed the court for leave to assume responsibility for both Wontumi and the Wontumi Farms Company, the two accused in this Ghana Exim Bank case. Atachia also urged the court for an adjournment to allow the defense to resume the plea bargain negotiations with the Attorney General. And this is because the plea bargain negotiations initiated by Andy Apiakubi for on behalf of some the chair of the MPP in the Ashanti region, who's in jail now, Bernard Chuboesiako, broke down. And that's what we learned today earlier in court. After listening to both the counsel, the presiding judge adjourned the case to August 27 for further directions. And this is Samuel Atachia speaking to the media after the court hearing earlier today. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we're showing you the court videos earlier today and what happened in court. That's at 3FM927 on Facebook and also on YouTube. Take a listen to this.
Essentially, the judge agreed, and Honorable Deputy Attorney General Service House agreed that you attempt a plea bargain and then come back to the court and announce it. So we'll take up that initiative and see whether we can broker a deal, and that matter will come to an end. So that is what happened. But relating to the Edubuahin case, Cromwell, who was the last witness and investigator for the Attorney General, is still in the box. And today he made several concessions. I didn't understand the national security space. And I begin to wonder, I don't have to say it so many times, that how can you investigate the national security when their matters are clandestine, when they do undercover operations, when they have even operatives functioning in banks? How can you come to terms with a space that you don't understand? And why should we use your ignorance to send somebody to jail? So this is where we are. Tomorrow is a good day for the judiciary, so it won't come. But Wednesday we'll continue with them and see how it pans out. But it's very, very unfortunate. He made several admissions. I didn't understand the national security arrangement. And all the cases associated with Wontumi have taken over. And then we'll see how we prosecute them.
All right. Thank you.
That's Samuel Atachia there speaking to the media. And also, we got to know today that the leadership of the NPP has directed the legal team of the party to take over all cases involving Chama Wontumi. And this, we're talking about the Samurai Boy case that they say they're going to seek an appeal, for which Chama Wontumi is serving the 20-year jail term. There is the Tango Nimiri Forest case as well, which is alleged to have been involving Galamsey. And then this Ghana Exim Bank case that we're learning today that the plea bargain did not go through, the one initiated by Andy Apiakubi. And so Samuel Atachia will take over as lead counsel for Chama Wontumi in all the cases that he is involved in. And Justice Abdullahi is private legal practitioner and also a lecturer at the UPSA Law Faculty. Good evening, Justice Abdullahi. Thank you for joining us.
Indeed, good evening. It's a pleasure being here.
And first off, let me find out from you how this strikes you, that this directive from the party, according to the lawyers of the NPP, that they should take over all cases involving Chama Wontumi, and the Apiakubi has had to step aside.
Indeed, that is not something that the party has authority to undertake. The party is not, the political party as a machinery is not a member of the, what's it called, if you like, persons being prosecuted, first off. Second, they do not have any authority at all. None exists in law that grants them that authority to determine who represents who. However, I will not be naive to think that a political party will take this kind of decision without the consent of the person involved. So I would assume that the party has sought the permission and consent of Chama Wontumi himself to be able to take this kind of bold decision that has everything to do with his rights. Here, everything that the party does has the effect of either perpetually leaving Chamawan to be in custody, in prison custody, or accelerate his earlier release. And that is the kind of decision that only Wontumi can make in law, unless he's incapacitated one way or the other. And to the extent that he's not incapacitated and has not authorized anyone, I do not know how a political party can simply step in and make such orders directed at the lawyers. In fact, no political party can fire a lawyer representing a client. It is only the person who engaged him that can also disengage him. So if the political party is doing this, I'm wondering the extent to which Chamawan himself has communicated with Andy Apiakubi. Let's remember, about a week ago, just before before Chamawan was incarcerated, convicted, he had indicated that Andy Apiakubi had indicated that Chamawan had called him earlier in the morning and instructed that he mount an appeal on his behalf should he be convicted and sentenced. And so, having given this express instruction, it is only he that can revoke that instruction and not a political party.
And it's instructive that you make this point because, yes, and Yakubi repeated this point you just made on Key Point on Saturday. I'm going to play back that. But this is exactly what General Ewoje Bafo, Nana Ewoje Bafo, who is the NPP MP for Mensha South, also a private legal practitioner, he spoke to the journalist outside of the courtroom in his capacity as a member of the legal team for the NPP, and this is what he put out regarding the directive from the party.
This morning, for the case of the Republic versus in respect of the matter involving Wontumi farms, the party has since directed cases involving Chairman Wontumi. Cases involving Chairman will be taken over by the party's legal team. And so, in respect of this matter, Mr. Samuel Atachi is leading it, and then I'm assisting him together with other lawyers of the party.
So that's Bafwewa there talking about the said directive that the party has given to the legal team to take over all cases involving Chairman Wontumi. One of the accusations or criticisms against Andy Apiakubi was the record time in which this Samuel Boy case was, as it were, completed in court with Chairman Wontumi serving this jail term of 20 years. It took 9 months. There are many in the MPP who said, look, I mean, he could have done better. And some of which I know you have heard as well. From where you sit, you think that could have influenced this decision by the party to take over all the cases involving Chairman Wontumi?
Well, Alfred, as I've indicated, I think we all understand that up to this point that the party doesn't have any authority at all to do this. However, if they are calling the competence of Andy Apiakubi as a basis for his dismissal, I mean, if that's being cited as a basis for his dismissal, I'm wondering what they think could have been done that he did not do. Admittedly, sitting on the fence, I mean, you can easily make all kinds of suggestions. But really, if you find yourself in the soup, the dynamics change. I had always held the opinion that that case ought not to have traveled this far because in my scheme of things, I thought that if I was a lawyer, if I was Andy Apiakubi, and mind you, Andy Apiakubi is a good friend and a very good lawyer, I would have possibly sought a plea bargain on this because a plea deal would have saved this situation because as far as I was concerned, the signs were too clear to be ignored. And judging from 2013, when all these issues started, this didn't start from 2023, as a lot of people suggest. 2013, more than 13 years ago, that was when these issues started. When Wontumi himself even took matters into his hand and sued the state over this anti-Galamsey team that had visited the same Samaboy
and they destroyed his excavators. Yes.
Exactly. It's good you remember. So this is not an issue that just sprang up as a surprise to anyone. And it culminated only in 2023 when the president at the time even had to step in to more or less call in the innocence of Chama Wontumi. So the signs were just too clear on the walls that anybody, who was minded to see could have seen, and to have taken steps to avert this kind of outcome. That is done. That does not call into question the competence of the lawyer. The competence of the lawyer is not marked by the strategy he adopts. And so for those who are calling his competence into question, I think that they are getting it wrong. And if the idea is to unduly delay the progress of the matter, I do not think that also questions the lawyer's competence. That is only a strategy that one might adopt or the other. But even that strategy is as effective as the trial judge would allow it to be. And so it is difficult to blame decent, in fact, Andy Akpekwe is one of the most decent lawyers you would find in the system. You mentioned his name, nobody will say anything negative about him because he's very decent, he's honest. For young lawyers, he's one of the most admirable lawyers in the system. And so if anyone is calling his competence into question simply because of this conviction, I think that the person is getting it wrong.
And so maybe too honest to a fault, and that may have cost him?
Well, yes, sometimes, I can understand how that comes across. Sometimes, yes, I agree. Particularly when you go into this and you behave like me, quite naive, thinking that the politics dimensions are not influential in determining the outcome or otherwise. You could be very naive and it could go against you, but that is not because you are incompetent. That is because maybe the clouds around the case worked against you.
And I thank you very much, Justice Abdullahi. Thank you for your thoughts on this rather interesting development we're learning from the new Patriotic Party. Appreciate you. Justice Abdullahi is a private legal practitioner. And away from the matters regarding Wontumi and the NPP legal team, the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, has called on President Mahama to suspend what they say is a proposed sale of the Volta Aluminium company, that's VALCO, warning that the move could lead to significant job losses and worsen unemployment in the country. The appeal follows a demonstration by some VALCO workers in Tema who marched to register their opposition to the move. The workers argued that VALCO requires substantial financial investment to restore operations and secure its future. Subsequently, reports emerged that Cabinet had approved an investor for the company. However, the decision has sparked divisions amongst the workforce, with a section of employees expressing fears that the arrangement could lead to job losses. The aggrieved workers, led by the General Secretary of the Industrial Commercial Workers Union, Morgan Ayowene, presented a petition to the Tema Metropolitan Chief Executive, Ebi Bright, calling for the immediate suspension of the said sale of VALCO. Take a listen to him.
Of VALCO to a private investor poses significant risk, including potential job losses, diminished workers' welfare, and adverse financial consequences for both the workforce and the state. I want to inform the whole country, all of us, leaders, stakeholders, that we are poised as a union that believes in protecting the national asset.
That's Morgan Ayowene there. Receiving the petition on behalf of the president, the Tema Metropolitan Chief Executive Ebi Bright assured the workers that the government would engage all stakeholders to address their concerns and work towards an amicable solution on the matter.
We will send this message across, and I want to reassure you that this is a listening government, and that no matter what, you must keep faith in the good intentions and the resolve to reset, not only reset the nation, but to ensure jobs, prosperity, and economic viability for all Ghanaians.
That's A.B. Bright there. And on this particular matter, there's been a development as well regarding some publication that has been put out, which has received some reactions from Ibrahim Mahama. And businessman Ibrahim Mahama has put out a statement denying claims that he is seeking to acquire the Volta Aluminium company, that's VALCO, describing the allegations as false and announcing plans to pursue legal action against those responsible for the said publication. And we have a copy of that statement we're going to put on our Facebook page right now. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we're putting that statement from Ibrahim Mahama. We received a copy of shortly, the denial follows this petition submitted to President Mahama by the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, urging the government to halt any proposed sale of VALCO. The union staged a protest march over reports that the state-owned aluminum company could be sold, with some protesters alleging it will be acquired by Ibrahim Mahama, founder of Engineers and Planners and brother of the president. In a statement posted on Facebook, which if you go on our Facebook page right now at 3FM927 and our YouTube page at 3FM927, we put it there live right now, signed by the special aide Rafik Mahama, the businessman Ibrahim Mahama rejected the claim, saying he had neither expressed interest in nor made an offer to acquire VALCO. It described the allegations as part of a sustained effort to tarnish Ibrahim Mahama's image, and continues. It says, unfortunately, the allegation in the latest in several vile attempts to impugn his integrity. The statement further defended the businessman's record, saying all businesses in which he has interests were established or acquired lawfully and have operated in compliance with applicable laws. And that's what you'll find there on our Facebook page at 3FM927 with this statement we have just put in there. Now let's get a bit more detail into this particular matter and how things are playing out. Austin Game is going to be joining us for a conversation on this latest from VALCO, and that statement from Rafik Mahama is on our Facebook page at 3FM927. We go there and you can get a read of it. And joining us right now is Austin Game. He's a labor expert. Mr. Game, good evening. We have Amponsa Bediako is a member of the unionized staff joining us as well for a conversation on this. First off, let's engage Amponsa Bediako on this. Mr. Bediako, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Thank you for joining us. First of all, let me find out from you this what is coming from Ibrahim Mahama. He's alleging that some of you, the workers, are also saying he is the one going to acquire this VALCO if put on sale. Are you aware of this?
Oh, Senior, first of all, let me send a very big thank you to our President, Mr. John Mahama, and also to the Sector Minister and management of VALCO. I will tell you that, Senior, you know, every allegation being made is an agenda set by the union chairman, which I am a member of. This investor issue didn't start today. I've worked for VALCO. God willing, by September, I'll be 12 years in VALCO. We've been crying for investor all this while, and anytime, an investor comes, you will get the management pushing them away. Just run the plant. We have given them the chance to run the plant. Fully 100% owned by Ghana, running the plant. Still, we are not seeing any progress. So if today the president has listened to our cry and said what he is bringing an investor, and even has given cabinet approval, there's approval from cabinet that we should look for investors. You see, strategic investors who can take care of VALCO. Then we get our union and some members of the union fighting this thing. Just because they want somebody to run a plant. And that person they know was given the chance to run a plant. We gave him 126 cells Today, we have about 93 cells. And we are, senior, it's like we are not ready to go home. The plant needs investor. As a union member, today I was against the demonstration. Why am I against it? The sector minister sent his deputy to the plant to come and form a committee. They will be planning the roadmap on how to choose an investor for us. Then after this meeting went on, we got the union chairman planning a demonstration and saying that by Monday we shall demonstrate against it. I don't think it's a good call. We have 2 reps on this committee that if you have any grievances, pass it through them. Some of the members of this union today said they will not join the demonstration, and most of the guys who were seen at demonstration are not VALCO workers. I can tell you for a fact, most of them were not VALCO workers. So why do you do this to us?
You're saying the people who took part in the demonstration are not, most of them are not VALCO workers?
About 80% were not VALCO workers.
So where are they coming from?
They are all very funny. You see, ICU brought some sister unions to join them because they realize that most of the workers are not willing to do what the chairman is telling us to do. So they brought people from different companies to come and wear our T-shirts and go and demonstrate. The only workers I saw or counted were about 20 out of 800 workers. Out of 800 workers, only 20 VALCO workers were seen over there. The rest are not VALCO workers. And I'm saying it on a fact because I'm a union member and I know what I'm saying. You see, right from day one that the president said, well, we should look for an investor. Before you get an investor, the investor must come to the plant, tour the place, and see whether, maybe, yes, I would like it or not.
I see.
That very day that they came to the plant, the union chairman said we should block the gates. We shouldn't allow them to enter.
But you are alleging that the union chairman is against this investor that the government wants to bring in?
Yes. And I'm saying that for a fact because I know what I'm saying. The union chairman was in a meeting with me and some other guys.
But what interest does he have?
That's what we should ask him. Senior.
But you are the one saying it.
Find out from the union chairman.
No, you are the one who is alleging, and you must prove. That's why I'm asking you. What you say he called you into a meeting? I made a
comment that I was in a meeting with him and some other guys in the union.
What did he say in that meeting?
We were all planning that we will not allow the government to take over the lands around VALCO. The VALCO lands. And this topic we are discussing today, the agenda was for us to maintain the current CEO. So for me, I know the in and out of everything that's happening today. The whole plan was to maintain the current CEO. We are not saying the current CEO is not doing well, but senior, the thing is, there are loopholes in the system. And we have given this same chance to our former CEO. No progress came. We didn't see anything. Today, we've been crying for investors right from the previous government. They started this. And the union chairman is aware that we've been crying for investors. They lost power, and this government came in. They said they will continue it for us. What is our worry? If investors come to tour the plant to see whether maybe they will show interest in it, then the union chairman will fight them that we should block the gates. We shouldn't allow them to enter. What interest is he having? What interest is he having? Just because the union chairman doesn't come to work. He was employed because of VALCO. But at times he comes to work at 12 o'clock and even close early.
Oh, but
chairman, he doesn't do anything in the plant. So just to enjoy his comfort, let's maintain the current CEOs. Because he knows that
these allegations, Chief, these allegations, the chairman is not here.
I'm a member of the union.
I see.
And if you ask him, the chairman, he knows me.
And you have said a number of things, and we are trying to get through. Unfortunately, we are unable to get through to the chairman. But you're saying you're on record. I've said that you were called into a meeting, and he whipped you in line to pursue an agenda against any investor the government will bring. You also say 80% of the people who took part in the demonstration today are not VALCO workers.
Yes,
these are issues that
we will check. I will repeat the same things because I know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Most of the workers came to work today. Boss, in fact, I was at work last night. And those who came to relieve us from work, most of the workers came to work. Most of them said they won't join. Because, you see, it's like we are all seeing what the chairman is doing. Just to paint or just to use the union to play agenda for somebody.
Thank you very much for talking to us. And he is a member of the unionized staff of VALCO. He says they didn't join the demonstration. 80% of those who were on the street were not VALCO workers. We were trying to get through to the chairman of the union, whom he has made some allegations against. Unfortunately, we're unable to get through to him. We'll keep working on it in our subsequent bulletins, get some responses as well. But Ghanaian officials say they will continue diplomatic talks with South Africa to remedy the ongoing violent anti-migrant protests which have killed 2 Ghanaians. The country has started another batch of evacuation targeting to fly about 1,000 Ghanaians home, with nearly 200 already arriving as of today. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto has been talking, but before we hear from him, going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we'll hear from the Foreign Affairs Minister. Welcome back to Hot Edition, and let's take a listen to the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto promising sustained reintegration, job offers and relief packages for Ghanaian returnees from South Africa.
Anti-migrant demonstrations have rocked South Africa, forcing foreign nationals to flee the country. The number of returnees so far to about 150 out of the expected 1,000.
As we did for your compatriots who came earlier in the same package, because you are all valuable Ghanaians who we cherish and we adore very much.
While ensuring the complete reintegration of the returnees, the government is also working to secure properties some left behind, as well as seeking compensation for their losses.
Before you were allowed to board, the South African authorities carried out screening because they have a database of wanted criminals. Not a single Ghanaian is on their wanted list. Not a single Ghanaian is a criminal who the South African authorities are looking for. We will continue to hold talks with the South African authorities to ease tensions. We hope that they would also do better. This whole xenophobic attacks casts a very bad image of our continent.
That's the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto there. But let's now get some numbers before we go to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Martin Esidu, that Foreign Affairs correspondent, is there for us. But how many evacuees have arrived so far? What has been happening to them? With some suffers with our research team is here with us. What do we know?
So Alfred, this will be the 4th phase of the evacuation process. So the first batch arrived on the 27th of May, and there were about 297 passengers. And the second batch came in on the June 6th, 340 passengers. And the third batch arrived on June 7th. There were 342 passengers. So in all, if you add the 297 to the 340 and the 342, we are having 979 confirmed people who have arrived from South Africa following the xenophobic attacks. But there was a separate man who was treated differently. He had a special treatment. He was excluded from this one as well. There have been some direct financial support. So the package component, we have the reintegration and startup allowance, which is 5,000 Ghana cedis. We have the transport allowance, which is 500 Ghana cedis. So in all, the reported amount per evacuee is 5,500 Ghana cedis. So the aggregate, so if you look at the people that have come, about 979. So far, the government has spent about 5,384,500 Ghana cedis on them as well. And there have been announcement of job opportunities. About 200 opportunities had been secured for the returnees. 100 jobs were offered by Ibrahim Mahama Engineers and Planners as well. Airtel Tigo, Telecel, and Association of AGI, Association of Ghana Industries also reportedly expressed interest for the allocation of jobs for these evacuees. So the final phase, as we are in, we have approximately 900 to 1,000 people expected to be evacuated from South Africa. So in all, this is, in a nutshell, this is the numbers that with regards to this evacuation.
Almost 1,000.
Almost 1,000.
All right. Wisdom, thank you so much. Here's with our research team. Let's go straight to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. And Martin Esiodudate is Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent. Martin, what's happening at the ministry?
Well, Alfred, the Foreign Affairs Minister has been updating the country on a number of major developments that have happened in terms of Ghana's global engagement, and also touched more on the South African situation, where he indicated that diplomatic tensions seem to be simmering down since both countries have now agreed fully. And now this about seeking compensation, or Ghanaians seeking compensation from South Africa, was another point he reiterated. Now, on other major developments happening in the country, the foreign minister touched on the member of parliament for North, who was arrested in the Netherlands. You would recall that incident happened in May. He was detained on the 24th of May. The minister said that he paid a visit to the member of parliament in The Hague, who has been given adequate consular services. So he really does not have any major need at the moment in terms of assistance or lawyers or any kind of help he needs whilst in detention. However, he said that he had a call from the Dutch minister on this same arrest issue. He raised it with the Dutch minister who had visited him, and the situation is that they are working together to ensure that he is in good health, and if the extradition to America does happen, it will be at the consent of all interested parties. So it's a confirmation the member of parliament is still in The Hague. There were earlier reports that he had been extradited. He says that has not happened yet. He's still in The Hague, and he is in good condition. Well, it talks also about the people that have been evacuated from different countries. Also, it's interesting that it is only South Africa that we are hearing much about. But apparently, some 638 Ghanaians have recently been evacuated from Libya and have been reintegrated. 244 Ghanaians have been helped to leave Cambodia, of all places. So a lot has been happening diplomatically, and the minister just took the opportunity to update the country on that and touched on even the visit of Cyril Ramaphosa. That became a topical issue. He clarified that it wasn't that Ghana denied the visit of Cyril Ramaphosa, the South African president, but it was to ask him to postpone it because of the tensions at the time, which, based on all he said today, that tension is coming down and is looking good at the strength of the diplomatic relation between Ghana and South Africa will not be affected by the recent xenophobic issues. Alfred.
Martin, appreciate you for this comprehensive information there. Martin Esiodudate is our Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent. Andrew Sefa is here with a summary of the sports news.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Andrew Sefa Bamfo. Let's start off from the camp of Barcelona, where the club have officially completed the permanent signing of highly rated Ghanaian winger Abdulaziz Issa from Dreams FC. Now, the 20-year-old has signed a 2-year deal that will keep him at the Catalan club until June 2028, with Barcelona also securing an option to extend the agreement by an additional year should his development continue on its current trajectory. Now, finally, before we go, the Black Satellites suffered a 4-2 defeat to defending champions Nigeria in the opening Group B match of the 2026 WAFU B Under-20 Championship at the Charles Konan Bani Stadium in Yamoussoukro in Ivory Coast on Monday. The team will face Burkina Faso next on July 30 as they continue preparations for the Under-20 African Cup of Nations. Bringing an end to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7 and Hot Edition here on TFM 92.7. For more updates in the world of news, business and sports, do join us same time tomorrow.